Everybody knows PrizePicks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Duh. Got a UFC fight night this weekend. Strickland versus Fluffy Hernandez. If you want to follow me for my picks, you know where to go. At Jorge Masvidal. Now, you guys know my favorite thing about PrizePicks is that everybody has a projection and you can go more or less off that projection. And also, if you play online for $5 and use my promo code DEATHROW, you get 50 on me. Team picks are available in 30 states now, including California, Texas, and Florida. Everybody go follow me every week at Jorge Masvidal. Let's go. One of my all-time favorite fighters, still in my opinion the best bantamweight that ever lived, Dominick Cruz. What's up, brother? How you doing, brother, huh?
What an introduction from the man himself. We need you to fight again right away against this guy, Demetrious Johnson. You know, he offered me a car, and I was like, okay, well, what kind of car? He's like, whatever. What do you want? A Nissan Skyline, a GTR, because I'd always wanted that car from Need for Speed. Getting a car to fight somebody, a free car is like, and a stack of cash. Like, it doesn't get better than that to me, bro. You get 5 shots, and you don't mix it with anything, and just don't go over that and don't go under that. And no matter what, I could show up the next day and do whatever training I needed to do, even sparring. It's a hard one to accept because I was on my feet. I was doing my job that I need to do as a fighter to allow the fight to go on. There was 1 second left on the clock.
You remember one time me, you, and Tony Ferguson were hanging out? Like, Masvidal, come whack me in the leg. I'm like, nah, Tony. Just come kick me in the leg. And I get up and I give him like a little love tap. All right, Tony. And then he goes, Dom, kick me in the leg. Whack the fuck at him like 4 in a row. Like, bah, bah,
No,
bah, bah, bah.
I actually don't remember this at all. Where were we?
Fighting out of Miami, Florida, Jorge Masvidal.
Weren't really necessary. Maybe
They were super necessary.
305, 305, 305, 305, 305, 305, 305, 305.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back with another episode. Death Row MMA, powered by Happy Dad. And it's truly an honor tonight to bring in this man into the podcast. One of my all-time favorite fighters, still in my opinion the best bantamweight that ever lived. The craziest style. You couldn't prepare for this guy. There was no training to get ready for this fight because he has a unique style that nobody ever has before him or now. One of my favorite fighters of all time, Dominick Cruz. What's up, brother? How you motherfucking doing, brother, huh?
What an introduction from the man himself.
No, dude, yeah. I actually dropped you short. I got to mention, you still got the most title defenses, period. WEC Dominick Cruz is like, dude, the best 135er I've seen in my life. I love Merab. I'm a huge Merab fan, and I think he's definitely going to be up there. What he's done is phenomenal. But if I think there's one guy stylistically, what I gave it to Merab is fucking you, brother. Just you can match anybody's pace. Your wrestling has never taken second place to anybody. And then on the feet, it's like, bro, it's just you. You have this unique special, it's just you, and that's always something that we talked about it before when I was with you in San Diego. But if you could tell the fans, like, where did you get this style? Because everything that you kind of get taught in MMA is like, don't do that. Don't fight with your hands down, fucking teasing the guy the whole time. There's kicks, there's elbows, there's knees. But you not only, like fought and were somewhat successful. No, you took it to the highest end of the sport, have the most title defenses with one of the craziest styles that still to this day, it blows my mind, bro. So please just tell us, like, dude, where does it come from? Like, how did you get this?
Thanks, first of all. I like talking to, guys that have been in the game as long as you, because you know how weird it is, the things that I was doing to an extent, because there's just regular, like, you see just the same thing all the time. I know I have, and I always got used to seeing the same movements. But, you just said to get to 155, you were dying. We were talking before we got onto this. And when I started in the sport, it was at 155. So I was literally thinking about having to fight guys your size, Sean Shirk, BJ Penn, Matt Hughes. These are the guys that in my head I'm thinking, how am I going to fight these guys? Like, I literally have no chance. Soaking wet, I'm 155 pounds. These guys are probably cutting, I'm thinking, from 185 pounds. So, me being a wrestler, I know I really don't have much of a chance, if I'm going to be honest. But I really wanted to do it. So, when I started training with 55ers, they were so long and so lanky that I had a problem getting past their jab, getting past their teep kicks. So, I had to come up with ideas on how to get past those weapons because I thought, well, there's still a commitment. So if I use their straight lines as a freeway to get to their body and their heads, then they won't be as long. They'll actually be just the same size as me. But I couldn't do that by staying in front of them on the line. I had to bait them to throw on the center line and make sure and ride next to it, perpendicular, parallel to what they fired down, in order to get to their body and head because they're so big, so tall. And then at the same time, if I could do that, I could dodge them grabbing me, underhooking me, body locking me, shooting on me. I could kind of stuff their hooks and stuff their kicks because I'm right next to it, so it kind of like neutralizes it. So all these things I was thinking about, and that's like, how do I do this? Well, I'm gonna have to be able to move my feet because these guys are so much longer, so much stronger, so much bigger. So footwork and not being able to be touched was something that I knew early was going to be important
Was
because
this
it was a new sport.
Was there
The small
somebody though
gloves.
from maybe I don't know boxing or kickboxing? Somebody that was like, I'm gonna take some of this and make it into my own thing. But was this some, or you just came up with the whole footwork? Your
The hard part, Masvidal, wasn't like the idea I wanted. I saw that Muhammad Ali used the idea, which was hit and don't get hit, move, speed, combinations, footwork. He was just able to dance circles around people, and while he still got hit a lot, obviously he's a heavyweight. He minimized the amount he got hit compared to other heavyweights. So there was that idea that which I knew could be possible, but then I knew I had to come up with different patterns to move than boxers because obviously we shoot, we kick, we knee, we elbow. There's all the other stuff. So in boxing, you can still stay on the center line and move your head and your feet can stay planted. But if you do that in MMA, you get double legged or you get kicked. So you can't just keep your feet planted. So I had to be able to move my head and my feet at the same time and hit angles. And that would stop all the forward straight attacks on bigger guys and keep them from grabbing me. So it was like, all right, I know that moving my feet and I know that moving my head and I know that moving fast is going to support me. Muhammad Ali shows how well it works. Now, how do I create patterns that will work for a brand new sport? And wrestling already does that. Wrestling footwork is that. If you watch really high level wrestlers, they never stay in one stance. They're always switching feet. They're always switching hands, lead hands. They're always switching. So if you actually really pay attention, I'm using, excuse me, wrestling footwork, angles, and movement mixed with like boxing and kickboxing as I started kickboxing and doing the shadow boxing and drilling it all together. It comes up with like a little hybrid movement system of angles and ways to stay off the center line and to kind of nullify the big strong attacks that come down the center line was the idea. But you just, really, this, you just hit the pads, you jump the rope, you do the habits, and then the style kind of creates itself, right? Like same thing for you, I would imagine.
yeah, but my style, it was like, you know, I took from a lot of like good kickboxers, good MMA guys, and wrestling. Like obviously, I was gonna add my own seasoning to it, but there was kind of like a blueprint. Like still to this day, nobody fights like you before or after you. So you were like your own thing. Like you're in your own planet for creating this, brother. Because ain't nobody does that. You know, it's like
Well, I would say it can be redone a little because honestly, if you watch Dillashaw and Mighty Mouse, they're the two that I would say, and Sandhagen, they're the three that I would say like kind of represent, and even O'Malley in a lot of ways, they represent little fine things
yeah.
that I do here and there, the same principles, the same ideas. They kind of use it too, and they've copied and pasted, but made
I
it
think
their own, right?
yeah, like TJ may be the most because also like Sean does do it with the striking, but nobody does it as fluid as you did with the striking and the takedowns. And that's what I really think made you a standout. Like it was so fluid when you'd make a guy miss, you'd hit him with like a 2-3 piece, and then as soon as his hands went up, blast right through him, boom,
Yeah,
and that made you like a double-edged sword. And now I don't know, when you change levels, I'm like, is this guy gonna kick me? Is he gonna take me down? Is he gonna punch me?
right.
And then you would always see it, that you start establishing first round, second round, you start establishing your pace and your rhythm. By third, fourth, and fifth, these guys would bite on your feints so hard, sweep them off their feet, and then you'd make the fights non-competitive. And dude, I was always like, though, I cheered for you every single fight. I was always in the back of my head worried, like, dude, how the fuck does he get away with this shit, bro? It's crazy,
Yeah.
bro.
It
You
goes
know?
as long as it does,
But,
right? We go as
but
long as we can and we
no,
just
damn
go.
right, damn right, no, bro. And you pulled it off you literally did the Muhammad Ali shuffle on everybody, brother. It's crazy, bro. And when did you start wrestling?
I started wrestling when I was about 11 years old in seventh grade. And
Okay.
I would say that that was also something for me that I wanted to do was I knew that people were doing either boxing or they were kickboxing or they were wrestling, but nobody was doing it together. And so I knew if I could mix boxing with wrestling, that would be the best fit because in wrestling, the best wrestlers that I witnessed had the best setups, and they always set everything up with their hands. So you grab in the right place, you're feinting in the right place. It's the same exact thing in fighting. So I was just thinking, like, okay, if I can use my boxing as the setup for the takedowns instead of the grab as the setup for the takedowns, and now we're sitting straight up, then it can just flow together just like it does in wrestling. So that was always something I thought about, but it was then you got to like practice how to actually do that. You know what I mean? Like how to flow it and make it not feel, it has to fit like a puzzle piece. It can't be all clingy or like all weird, clanky.
How long did you wrestle for?
I started when I was in seventh grade and then I never stopped because I knew it was the base. So I just kept going and
All through
wrestling
high
and
school?
wrestling all
All
through
through
high
high
school.
school?
Yeah.
How,
Yeah. I
how
didn't do
far did
as
you get
well
in
at
high
state.
school?
I didn't do as well at state as I should have. I got sixth place, but I was ranked like third in the state at the time. It was a really good competitive um, time of for wrestling in Arizona actually. And then but I hurt my ankle, the typical story, and so didn't do as well. And then I didn't do well on my ACTs. So like between that and just being a shithead at the time, partying, ripping it and stuff, like I didn't get the scholarship I wanted in college. So then I had to work right out of college to pay for college. I had to get a job instead of wrestle. And so that pushed me towards fighting rather than wrestling, rather than college wrestling.
What what do you, fighting or wrestling? What's funner? Fighting, obviously.
Fighting.
Yeah. It's the
Yeah,
funnest shit in the
wrestling,
world.
there's something I was a good wrestler, but I wasn't a great wrestler. And I think I was good. I was just there's levels to wrestling out there, man. The level of just straight wrestling can be so fucking crazy, dude.
So deep.
And
So deep.
I wasn't that. But then I kind of always looked at I liked fighting because it was like I could wrestle, but I could cheat. And I kind of knew like if I could get somebody tired, that's like cheating. Like if you can get them tired and then start the race at the end of a race, I could beat a lot of people in that scenario. And then I also knew that punching and kicking and adding pain to the equation was something that I was good at too. So I liked that about fighting. I liked that they were trying to hurt me, which gave me permission to hurt them, and I was no longer a bad person for that. I really appreciate that.
I love the way you broke it down, brother. Make my mama believe it too now in the sport. Mom, it's not my fault. This guy's coming to kill me. No,
Yeah,
talk to me. I talked to you about this coincidentally, and I never forget because you told me this in person. And it's always, I thought it was the craziest thing because I always looked at you as one of the elites in the sport. Like, what is Dominic doing? And I've kind of borrowed things you could tell from the shuffle and then some of the footwork you gotta do. I can't do it 25 minutes every minute like you fucking do. That's another thing. You got a crazy gas tank. But I would always be watching what you do. And I remember that I was talking to you about the TJ Dillashaw fight, and you told me it was like a week out, and you were like, you know what? I'm gonna have some shots and see how I feel about this. You remember you told me that?
I
You might
do. I
you might
remember.
share you might sharing the story with the public?
Yeah, I still think about that because people. get really like, I feel like sometimes we can get overly perfect, overly perfectionist. And at the end of the day, sometimes you just gotta fucking relax and remember why I started doing this. Like when I started doing this, I was just having fun. And I was fighting because a lot of times you're at a house party and you're just kind of hammered sometimes, and you step outside in the front and you just, have a squabble real quick, right? Like over nothing. Like it's just like that's what it was about. So every now and then, and I think during this time, my stress was so high, Jorge. Like I was so nervous after the layoff, being gone for 3 years, and then I turned my quad. So many things that I already wasn't supposed to make it that far, according to not just kind of me a little bit, but everybody else. The fact that I even was able to rebook the fight, make it through the camp. I had 2 weeks left till the fight. Like I was there. I was healthy. My body was working. I was gonna make it. It was kind of shocking in a weird way that I had gone through all that shit and nobody gave me a chance. But I knew how good a shape I was in and I know who I was, right? But I remember I was so stressed and so nervous, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. I just get a bottle and I'm gonna have my minimum. I always had a rule that if I was gonna do it, you get 5 shots and you don't mix it with anything, and just don't go over that and don't go under that. And no matter what, I could show up the next day and do whatever training I needed to do, even sparring. I could spar, I could run, I could whatever. As long as I didn't go like mix it, and as long as I didn't go under or over that, as long as I didn't go over that, under was good.
Train
But
while you're on the sub training after taking shots, like the following days, always been like my most hated thing. Like track and field after a night of drinking or wrestling,
yeah,
or I hated it all.
but
That's one
that's
thing
the
I always
sweet
hate.
spot though. You probably didn't stop soon enough. You know what I mean? I found the sweet spot and it was 5 shots. So I have
Even
five
if I do
shots.
two shots, I do two shots. The next day I'm feeling it. Alcohol, I feel it, man.
Nah, dude,
I,
it powers you up if you do it right, bro. I was powered up. It relieved my brain, dude. It can wipe. They call it liquid courage for a reason,
yeah,
you know.
definitely.
So sometimes I was stressing myself out mentally so much that it was worth the little physical hit for the mental release I got. It was just, it was
No,
nice to
that
just
part
have
definitely
that.
on the mental. I think it could definitely, like you say, help you deal with stress and just like listen to
I
music,
don't
chill out,
encourage
whatever.
it every day. I don't encourage it
No,
often. For whatever reason, I listen to myself. I listen to you know what I mean? This is just the right decision. I didn't do this. It's not like I did this every fight.
no, I
This was
know.
like a decision I made,
But
for this
it's
fight.
just crazy because at the time you've been out 3 years, you're fighting TJ that's wiping out everybody. He's playing with everybody. And dude, you put on one of the best fights ever at 135. One of the best fights, period, man. That was a fucking performance, brother.
But it's a good question you asked me. Thank you for saying that. But it's a good question. And I think that kind of actually touches on where I was at mentally too, which is like, I made it this far, fuck it. And that was the freedom of it. Like, I shouldn't even be here. I can't believe I'm still going to get to fight for this title. Like, I thought it was all over when they stripped me. I never thought I was going to get another shot again, dog. Like, I never, after beating Mizugaki in a minute, I blow my knee out again. Like, like, I thought it was over. Then
Yeah,
they gave me a
I was
title
there for that
shot.
fight live. I was there for that fight.
That's
The
sick you
Gaki
got to
fight
be
in
there because
Vegas.
that was one of my favorite fights. I only got hit one time.
Yeah, I was there for that one.
But to get that opportunity, bro, it like made me feel like I was ready to have fun. So I could just relax and let go and let bygones be bygones. I was already he had the title. I had no chance. I was the underdog. So I was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna have a couple drinks today. I'm gonna relieve the mind. I'm ready. I'm in shape. You're gonna go in there and fuck him up. He's not ready for the style. He's not ready for the movement. He thinks he knows. These are the things going through my head. Is he thinks he knows how you move, but he's got ideas, but not exactly. And I knew what the missing things were. He still fought on a center line, and he didn't know that. He wasn't on the angles he thought he was on, and I knew I was gonna hit the angles that he didn't understand, and that's what was missing in the style that he didn't have that I had. That I had the premise of it from.
Great fight, man. Great
It's
fight.
fun though. It's fun process, and it's funny. It's even more fun that you even know all this shit from back then.
But I didn't forget. I didn't forget, man. I'll say another funny story from back then. This is a funny one on a side note. You remember one time me, you, and Tony Ferguson were hanging out?
I there's been like a couple instances that
That
I can
was
remember.
one
I
of the
don't know if
fun.
this is the one I'm thinking, but
I won't say all of them, but I'll say one of them happened that day. I'll never forget. This is why you're one of my favorite motherfuckers. Not because you're athletic, not because you're talented, but because truly deep down inside, you're just a mean fucking kid, bro. You want to just beat the Pope out of people. And I remember Tony's messing around. He gets up and he's like, Masvidal, come whack me in the leg. I'm like, nah, Tony, I'm not gonna do that. He's like, come on, I want to feel one. Come kick me in the leg. And I'm like, Tony's not. It's not gonna happen, bro. I'm not. Just come kick me in the leg, and I get up and I give him like a little love tap. All right, Tony. And I said, "That no, man, serious. Come kick me in the leg." And he gets like a little aggressive. I'm like, Tony, I'm not gonna kick you in the leg. And then he goes, Dom, kick me in the leg. You remember? You stood up and you whacked the fuck at him like 4 in a row, like bah, bah,
No,
bah, bah, bah.
I actually don't remember this at all. Where were we?
We were in Las Vegas. No, my bad. We were in California. Me and you had commentated together. I think we were in the same commentary team. I think maybe I was like the pre-show or you. I forget the exact dynamic, but you were commentating. I think I was commentating. No, my bad. I was a special guest. You were commentating. I was a special guest, and Nate Diaz fought Anthony Pettis. I think that's where we
Wow.
were at.
Yep. That was
Then
a
we all
sick
hung
fight.
out in the hotel. We were all in the same hotel. We were hanging up at the terrace
Was it up outside?
outside, up at
This
the
is when he
top.
tried to fight me or something out there.
Yeah,
Was I
yeah.
was still in my suit,
Yeah. I remember that.
dude.
I wasn't gonna bring that part up, but yeah, that happened too.
I don't remember kicking him. I just
I
remember him
remember it
asking me
like it was
him.
yesterday.
That's
Him
see, I
telling me
blacked that out.
like Tony was like, bro, kick me, brother. Come on, kick me. He asked me like 3 or 4 times and was aggressive about it. I'm like, Tony, I'm not I'm not gonna kick you, brother. It's not gonna end the world for but you might not lie. I'm not gonna kick you, bro. I'm not gonna do it. He
Yeah, he
asked
might
me
go
and he
crazy.
immediately got up, started whacking his leg.
That makes sense why he wanted to fight me though, because when we were sitting there, I remember my thing was different. My memory was he came up to me and said, "You know, I don't like the way you commentated one of my fights," and he's like, "You want to move?" And I was like,
That was the same day.
"That was the same day, right?"
Like later on, I think, you know?
Yeah, okay. So now you're telling me why that happened. I don't remember kicking him. So that makes sense that he would ask me if he wants to beat my ass now that I'm in my suit upstairs. That makes more sense. I only remember that. I don't remember ever kicking him. That's wild. You sure that happened? You sure it wasn't somebody else?
110%. You were right here next to me, sitting down right here. That's the
That's
same.
funny.
Earlier that day, we had hung out. Me and you were hanging out with Henry Cejudo. We were all in the same room. We were talking
Yep.
up. Remember? We were chopping it up. Bomb bomb.
That was the same day. See, all these days seemed like a bunch of different days to me.
I mean, maybe it could have been 2 days.
See?
I'm pretty. If it's 2 days, okay. But it's either 1 or 2 days. But we all were
Oh
pretty
my
much.
God. We're the wrong guys to be trying to bring up past like that, man.
No,
Getting
but
punched as much as we have. Like who knows? All the days are just merged together at this point with
no,
with
because
our
I was
escapades.
coming in. I know that I was coming in from Miami, so I probably got there either Saturday morning or Friday night. You know, and I remember that I didn't see you or Dom Friday, so it all happened like Saturday, I'm pretty sure, you know. Because
You
Sunday,
ever
at
come to the
least me,
West?
I leave.
Do you come to the West Coast anymore?
Yeah, always some comes up and I'm there.
What's new for you now? I
Right
know
now,
you're doing
man.
the I know you're doing the business with the fight promotion. Now you're doing the
Yes, sir.
podcast.
April
What
10th.
else?
April 10th, brother. And when one of these we have in Miami, be an honor to have you, bro. I gotta get you out there. It's bare knuckle. I got 16 heavyweights. We're actually gonna make the announcement on Monday next week. We got like 7, 8 ex UFC guys. We got some PFL champions. We got some Bellator dudes. In total, 16 heavyweights. Taking the gloves off. 3 minute round. 3 rounds, 5 minutes. We're gonna have 4 fights to get to the finals. And shit, we're gonna be dropping the news on Monday, brother. The first fight will
You
be
do
April
bare
10th.
knuckle, 3 5 minute rounds of bare
Yeah.
knuckle?
Yeah. MMA. Full MMA, like how it started, you know? They got the hand
Oh
wraps on and
shit.
all that. Yeah. So it's
That's
just like
intense.
let's say just like UFC, but just no gloves. And then our second show will be here in Miami, May 1st.
Man, and that's how you came in the sport early. Did you do a lot of
Early.
stuff to train your hands when you were starting that, or did you just jump in there?
I mean, I would just hit the bag, hit the bag a lot, and then when I had told one of my coaches like, "Hey, I'm gonna do these bare knuckle fights," I remember they told me, "They said, whoa, if you're gonna fight bare knuckle, you got to start also hitting that bag, but the hard part of the bag, just touch it lightly, with no glove on." And I'm like, the hard part, the bag, the real hard part. I'd be like, all right. He would just
Yeah.
tell me like, just touch, 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 touch,
Ooh.
like that, like lightning. And then I think Cubans got all types of things. We had like buckets of sand in there, like the ones you get at Home Depot. So you could put your hand
Uh-huh.
in there and like wiggle your fingers if you had like hurt hands, it would help strengthen your hands. But you could also punch it, just touch it. And I did that a couple times. I did for the first fight. I didn't really do much. For the second fight, because I hurt my hand real bad in the first fight. For the second fight, I did a lot more hand conditioning.
Yeah, what's hand conditioning?
Like, I would hit the sand, things like that. I would hit like touch harder surfaces and just touch them. The bottom of the bag, I would touch it a lot, but just bare knuckle and just like just keep digging in and just touch, touch. Never like a hard shot, but just enough to just build, like a little callus on it, make it get calcified, and then that's it. Throw
Did
down,
it help? Do you notice when you would do it and when you wouldn't? Or was it just
Um,
adrenaline and that was pretty much it?
both fights that I did back in the backyard, both times my hands got wrecked. I didn't break nothing, thank goodness, but I did like mess up tendons and like ligaments and bones. I had a bone contusion. It didn't break, but it was like severely bruised. So it wasn't like the nicest. And then I had throughout my career, I always had like injuries with my right hand. I tore my tendons and ligaments there.
Yep.
So I didn't have like the best hand for like a while.
Yeah, same. I
Yeah.
tore all the tendons in my shit.
Yeah.
Plus, I had some breaks. It's a mess when the hands
Yeah.
hurt. But there's no way my hands would make it through bare knuckle now.
Yeah, and that's how I felt for like a long time too. Like, damn, my bare knuckle right now would rack my fucking hands. Especially when you go through the grind of every day practicing, sharpening that right hand out, and then you go spar and you hit somebody right here in the top of the head because they dropped their head a little bit, and now it's like, oh shit, back to square one. But one thing though that is amazing now, and I like it, especially for the young guys coming up, if they take advantage of it, is how far medicine has improved in these areas to take out inflammation, deal with all types of stuff. So you could really
True.
invest in medicine nowadays and wonders, cut the recovery time to like a lot less or half, than when we were going through. I think it was way rougher, because we didn't really have too much but bro science back then.
Yeah, I
And nobody
agree.
had money either, you
Yeah,
know?
I was trying to do all my rehabs on my own. I didn't have any UFC PI to fix me. It was crazy. I did all my own rehab, all my own shit. I had to go find places. I was driving
Yep.
2.5 hours, 3 times a week to get a good
Yep.
rehab in San Diego. It was crazy. It's not easy. You can't just go to the PI and be fixed.
Yeah, exactly. It's changed a lot, man. We were
It's
in there,
nice.
we were in there in the mud, boy.
I mean, not as bad as the ones before us, but it wasn't, yeah, it was fun. It was a fun challenge.
For UFC Fight Night this weekend, Sean Strickland is fighting Fluffy Hernandez. Hell of a fight. We're making all of our lineups and prize picks. Come on, everybody. You already knew that. Use promo code DEATHBRO. Play one line for $5. Give you $50. You're welcome. Tell me at Jorge Masvidal on PrizePicks. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your host, Death Row MMA. Today we're breaking down Sean Strickland versus Fluffy Hernandez. We got two guys that are pretty similar in style, in my opinion. Both maybe the cardio kings of the division. Both have a great output usually. Sean Strickland's very sound defensive wrestling, though he doesn't use it offensively that much, more of a defensive wrestler. He does have good grappling abilities to get back up to his feet, especially. And Hernandez, I think, is more offensive than Strickland with the wrestling, definitely. But I don't think he's gonna be able to control Strickland at all. Strickland's not an easy guy to control. I think this fight's gonna end up being on the feet, and I'm gonna go with. It's a tough fight, I think Strickland definitely has more miles, has more experience. Fluffy's a little younger, less miles, awkward style, but Hernandez sometimes does some mistakes where he rushes in, he puts himself in bad spots, and then his wrestling and his cardio, he could, he wills his way through it. With Sean, it's not gonna be that easy. Sean's gonna have a lot more experience. I think it's a great fight for both of them to really make a statement and be the clear-cut number one guy for the title. I think I'm gonna go with. I can see it going both ways in my head still. I can't get a definitive winner. I'm gonna leave it for you in the comments. You tell me who's gonna win this one. I think it's gonna be a good ass fight. I think this is gonna be fight of the year type fight, if you ask me. These guys are just gonna get in there and throw down Max Holloway style, point to the canvas and just go. I don't know who wins it. I think I'm leaning towards Fluffy, but I will not be surprised if Sean got it done. I won't be surprised at all. Should be more decisive in these things. Yeah, I'm going with Hernandez. PrizePicks. That brings me to the next subject, right? If we're going on PrizePicks, we're doing this the right way. Let me tell you who I got. Sean Strickland, 85 significant strikes or more. I'll take 85 and less. Anthony Hernandez, 90 significant strikes and at 90.5. I'll take less. Jeffrey Neal, 625 fight time. It sounds about right. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take the more on that one. And Anthony Hernandez, 2475 fight time. Yeah, I think if Anthony wins by decision, I don't see him stopping Sean Strickland. So I'll take that as well for it to go the long night. I think it's going to be a great fight, but I don't think it's going to be a finish from Hernandez's part, at least on the feet. We'll have to see. Wait, real quick, I got to ask you this one. 2011, Dana White himself buys you a GTO.
R.
My bad, GTR. What was that like? What were your feelings? Was that talked about beforehand? Were you like, yo, look, I'm not signing unless you get me this car. I don't want to talk to you. Like, what was the
Yeah.
negotiations like?
So what happened was I had fought Faber and I had rematched him and won, and so I was like, this is like that was I got my only loss back, right? Like that was my only loss. I got it back, so I was on top of the world, and then right away, like I think a week later, very soon after, maybe a month tops, it was like we need you to fight again right away against this guy, Demetrious Johnson, Mighty Mouse, and it was going to be on. They told me it was going to be on Versus Network, but it would be a quick turnaround. They needed a quick turnaround, and I was like, kind of, it's a hard camp, kind of a little bit beat up, not bad, but it was a hard camp, and so didn't really want to jump directly back into camp right after one because they're so hard. But he's like, we'll hook you up with extra bonus for taking this because it wasn't going to be like a pay-per-view or anything like that. And so, he offered me a car, and I was like, okay, well, what kind of car? He's like, what do you want? And at first I said I wanted a 2010 Dodge Viper, which was because they stopped making them at that time. They stopped continuing that model. So I wanted to get one that would retain value, but they couldn't find one. So my second choice was a Nissan Skyline, a GTR, because I'd always wanted that car from Grand Theft Auto, from all the game, or not Grand Theft Auto, but Need for Speed, stuff like that. The video games, you had to like unlock the GTR, and it was the best car. So I always remembered that. And then obviously, Fast and the Furious. That was my whole in high school watching Fast and the Furious. So I wanted a Skyline. Got that to fight him, and that's one of my favorite trophies for sure. Like getting a car after to fight somebody, a free car is like and a stack of cash. Like it doesn't get better than that to me, bro.
Doesn't
Like
get better.
nothing. Like
And to
it
fight,
for me, it doesn't.
and also fighting another all-time great.
Not at the time, we didn't know how amazing Demetrious Johnson was going to go on to be. I mean, there was a lot of talks about it, and I remember being mad about that at the time. Like everybody was saying how good he was, and I hadn't seen
You
a
made
lot
him
of
look
him.
bad, brother. You made him look bad on that
I
one.
hadn't seen a lot of him, but at the time, this is the thing: is I knew that 135 was new, 125 hadn't really been established at all yet, and it was 145 and 135, and I really do. have a real hand to say in making the 125-pound division, because I cleaned out the division, and then I was just a little bit bigger than these guys. And so I think that helped move them to a division that was more fit for their size. And Demetrious dominated in that division when he went down, but he was just a little too small. It's like me going at 45. I could do it, but at the championship level, every margin of inches you need to win. If you're too small, it's tough.
Yep.
You know how it is. That's why you cut so much weight, right?
Oh yeah.
How do you explain to the people why we cut weight? I try to tell it, but everybody just thinks I'm crazy because I appreciate it. I don't mind it.
For me, it was 155 or go to 170, and at the time it was like all the best wrestlers like Josh Koscheck, John Fitch, GSP, or those guys, and they're all these guys are like considerably bigger than me, and also heavy wrestling. If it would have been like more strikers, it would have been a little different. But I would walk around at about 182 to 184, and I'd get on a training camp, maybe like 8 to 10 weeks. It would take me to get down to 172, 174 lean, where I'd be at 172, I was 5% body fat. And that's about as low as I could train and still maintain like, 2, 3 workouts in a day and go about my life. Then after that, I would just cut down to 155 and stuff. And it got tougher and tougher and tougher. The older you get, it gets a little bit tougher. But for me, it was always like, man, I'm going to go up and deal with all these wrestlers. Let me get my strength up, because I always knew I was going to go up. So I would just hit the weight room hard, wrestle more. And then when I felt like, man, now's the time to go to 70 and just fucking knock these motherfuckers dead. Because I also started feeling like I wasn't being the best version of myself fighting at 55. I was getting there a little bit too drained already. So
Yeah.
that's when I moved up, started knocking motherfuckers dead.
Yeah, that was a good weight for you. You went on a sick run.
Yeah.
You were just knocking people
55
out.
was fun though too. Like you said, it was, I didn't mind I didn't like the weight cut, but when I was doing it, I also didn't mind it, fuck it.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked the discipline portion that it
Yeah,
takes. I feel like I like that I can challenge you to discipline yourself and
yeah.
see if you can do it,
A lot of this was no weight cutting. You gotta be on
Yeah, it's
point.
the hardest part. One of the things I remember too about you is how much you had improved from like the first fight I had seen you. Like you'd really shined to me. I think it was a 3-man tournament, and I don't remember the name of the
Strike
tournament
Force.
of the, huh?
Maybe Strike Force?
I don't know if it was Strike Force or was it, excuse me, Strike Force
Japan?
or Bellator or, huh?
No, yeah, Bellator. Bellator had a tournament as well.
They did, right? It was a
Hmm.
Bellator tournament, I
Hmm.
think. And I remember because I was training with Toby Mata early
Yeah,
on
Toby
in my
got me, man.
career,
Yeah.
and Toby would he was one of the most underrated fighters I'd ever trained with in my career, bro. He used to torture me, dude. To be honest, like in a lot of fucked up ways. Like he was so good on the ground, and you know how you say like I kind of had that mean streak, and you like that. Like Toby was one of the meanest people I've ever met in my life, through and through.
Okay. And
Like
hell yeah,
just he's just a mean. He was just mean for the sake of it often,
I
you
love it.
know.
It makes me
And
rest a lot better at night, because he ended up getting me, and I was whooping on him for 13 minutes. I
you
had
were
had some
smashing him, bro. I know that.
flying
I was
knees,
watching
right
it like
hand.
this is not looking good.
And bro,
It was
Toby just stayed tough and tough and tough. And then we got into a position where, you being a wrestler, I'm sure you understand even more. Nothing happens. Like, I've been there 1,000 times with wrestlers, and it's like I'll either get out or something will happen. I've never been choked out there once in my life, right? So as I'm getting up to my feet, I'm thinking, I'm gonna slap Tommy Mata into fucking next week. Wow, I'm gonna kill.
yeah.
I'm about to kill it.
I
WWE
know.
shit.
And
I
then
was
your
gonna
elbow
grab it.
goes.
I don't know where.
"Whew."
Yeah, I was gonna fucking dump him on his shit. So I fucking get up, and all of a sudden, not before I get choked, my back like locks out in a very way where it's never happened. Like that. I'm like, oh, what
Yeah.
the fuck? And I
Yeah.
feel it, and
Then
I'm
you're
like, oh my goodness, I'm getting fucking choked dead. And that's it. It was too late before I knew it. Sleeping, man.
That's why I
Sleepy.
wanted to talk to you about it, because that is not a conventional choke, and he would get a lot of guys with that in practice, me included.
Sankaku.
Dog, that reverse triangle was nasty. And it's the way that he could grab your waist, but he had a weird way to put his legs like arms and hit like a reverse. It's like an arm triangle, but he does it with his legs reverse. And he just had a weird leverage with his grappling. He was a nasty judo black belt. So he's like undercover, but it was not going good, bro. I don't,
I was
if you
piecing him.
know him, you
On the
know how
feet.
tough he is, but it's shocking that he got through that, bro, because you were fucking lighting him up
I
bad.
was lining him up.
It
I
was
was like,
crazy.
I was
You hit him
sending him
with
out. Remember,
everything.
I was getting him with a lot of flying knees, and I got him with one. I remember feeling it on my knee, and I looked at him, and I was like, dude, if I did hurt him, he's not even showing. Like, boom, like if it wasn't with him,
Yep. No,
hit him,
he's
and he
just
just
he'll
kept
just
coming
stare at
forward.
you.
Yeah. I was like, all right, let's go, And then like a minute and a half, 2 minutes ago, he pulls it off. Crazy.
He's just a mean dude. He's one of the only guys, like, you didn't lose to anybody that was not a nasty savage dude.
Yeah.
But that dude
No,
is
I know he was
he's one of my
mean.
hardest training partners I've ever trained with in my whole
Yeah.
career,
No,
for sure.
he was a fucking dog. He was a
Yeah.
dog. Shout out to Toby, man. Haven't heard from Toby in
Toby
minutes.
and you, man, you fucking have wars. What you did to what you did to poor Askren is just a crime to this point for the rest of humanity.
Nah.
It's like that's it. Like it's like you got to talk about the humble points now after a win like that. That's the win everybody on earth wants in fighting. If you're a professional fighter, that is the only way if you could choose one way to win, it would be that way. Run across, throw one fucking super powerful, super like anime jump knee, and then just turn back and walk off. Like, wow, like that's the best way. I mean, sorry, I like Askren. I'm a fan of Askren, but you can't do anything but look at that and just say that it's
Yeah.
incredible. That was incredible.
And the first time I went for like a running knee, I got dropped by a right hand because I did it all wrong. I led with my face. This guy Paul Rodriguez caught me with the right hand and dropped me. When I woke up, I was in the rear naked choke. He started
Oh,
choking me. I came to. So first thing I did is I grabbed his arm and I had it all the way down here. And I'm like, all right, I'm getting out. Boom. And he ended up putting me to sleep. He got me. I was like, fuck. So my knee had like a lot of evolution because when that happened, I saw the tape a million times and I said, that's what I did wrong. Holy smokes. I'm going to fix that. And I practiced that knee for a very long time with like a lot of anger. Like it'd be the thing that I would just do. I'd finish practice and start throwing like flying knees. We do like a 2 hour practice. I just won't even talk to them. I just do like 50 flying knees, 100 flying knees, different ways of doing it just to like perfect it. And I had a couple knockouts with the knee. Toby Mata almost was one of them. I hit him with like 2 good knees, but I had like a couple knockouts, and then came the Ben Askren fight, and it was like perfect. I got this tool for this guy that I have really well. That if you change levels and going at me like that, I got an answer for that, and it all lined up, man.
perfectly. It doesn't get better than that. Excuse
It's a
me.
good one. It's a
Doesn't
good
get
one.
better.
Um, Thoughts on the Gambler fight. Also, I'll say personally, not to take anything from Gambler because I think he's a stud as well. But like WC Dominick Cruz, ain't nobody beating that dude. Like
Yeah, I
Prime
feel you.
Dom ain't nobody beating. And it was still a very high
Primals.
competitive fight. It was
It
close
was a
one, but
good. It was competitive. Yeah,
very
he
competitive,
brought.
very close. I There's a lot of rounds I had you winning, but I think it was like an older version. Not to take
Yeah,
anything from
well,
Cody because he's a stud.
no. You're not wrong. It wasn't what it was. Is me. You know better than anybody, and people talk about it. At the beginning of the year compared to the end of the year when you're on a title run is two different versions of yourself because you just get beat up. Look at Marab. He tried to smash four into a year, and I think it was just too much work. It's not that he wasn't good enough, right? So sometimes, we overwork our bodies, and I don't talk about it because that was the only fight that I had the opportunity to make my only opportunity to make $1 million. Because you and me both know at this time in the game, pay-per-view buys are the only way to make $1 million, and you have to be defending the title. You can't just fight for the title to get pay-per-view points. So in order to get, for the people at home, like in order to get a real opportunity to make money, you have to defend the title. You can't be fighting for it. Then you don't get pay-per-view points. So I was defending the title. It was against Cody. I had just defended it against, I just won it from TJ and then defended it against Faber. And then I was going to defend it again against Cody. And that would have been my third fight that year after that 3.5 year layoff. So similar to how you said you had to condition your hands to get ready for those fights, my body was not conditioned for that type of year after 3 years on the couch. So by the time I got to the third fight of the year, my shoulder was torn. Both my feet had plantar fasciitis. I had to inject the bottom of my feet with Botox just to be able to walk to get ready. But I would have never taken that fight except that I had the chance to be under Ronda Rousey on that co-main event, which meant that the pay-per-view buys were going to be through the roof. So it's like normally I say, okay, give me a little bit of time. Like let me heal up a little bit and then I'll fight you. But because this was the only shot I was going to get to be on that card, I just said yes to the fight and took the fight. And it's not an excuse because I knew this whole scenario and I did the fight anyways. So it was like I just knew I was going to go in there a little bit compromised, not 100%, but I was in good enough shape and my body was working good enough that I could tough it out for that level of money. It was worth the risk. And
100%.
I did it. I did it. It was worth the risk and I don't take it back. I don't regret it. It was my biggest payday of my entire career. And I wouldn't have got that unless I took the fight. And I had already had to turn down my other big payday because I blew my knee out, and that was on the Ultimate Fighter. I was supposed to fight on the co-main event with Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva on pay-per-view. That would have been my first payday, and I blew my knee out. So being me, you got to imagine like I had already given up my like everything we work for is that pay-per-view money, like that big shot. And I had already said, well, I'd rather win than lose to Faber, so I can't go in there with a blown out knee just to collect the paycheck. So I gave up the money so I could heal and come back to win. I couldn't do that twice. Like as fucked up as my body was, my brain wouldn't let me. So I just took the fight. I wasn't quite as good as I could have been or as healthy as I could have been, but Cody also was. He was very healthy. He had 3 knockouts that year. I think 2 knockouts that year. Fast fights. He was young. He was up and coming with the team. They had a lot of years to game plan me, and he was on point. It was his night, right? Like he had his night that he needed to have, and he put on a great performance. And I thought it was definitely closer than I even said. But what's the point of saying? It was close when it's like a loss is a loss at that point. I was proud of myself for going in there with the way I was feeling before that fight and then doing what I did, going the distance. I was actually low level, pretty proud of myself. And, Cody it's not like he was a chump. I knew how good he was. I knew and I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to stay champion for a long time. I had hoped he would, for his own sake. But at that time too, I was ultra competitive, so I was ready for a rematch and I just wanted to fuck everybody up at that point. I was just mad, right? So it wasn't really in that phase of my life. Many years later now, obviously all those feelings are gone. You move through it, but at that time, I was in a special place to get that type of opportunity and I couldn't pass it up.
Can't pass
And
it up.
and I wouldn't, and like I said, it's not an excuse because I took the fight knowing that this was my scenario, right? So it's like that's how I was ready to show up and do this. And I didn't have enough on that night to beat Cody. I just didn't have quite just a touch behind, on the footwork, things like that. I couldn't jump rope. I had to wear shoes the whole camp.
I still think you're the
Lot
best bantamweight motherfucker that ever
lot of
lived, brother.
crazy shit. But it's no excuses. It was like these are real things fighters go through. Like I'm
Oh, all the
guarantee
time.
you've got this fight. You've got one of these fights that you can explain. Tell us right now, what's the fight you went into that was the most you shouldn't have taken it, but you did it and you're glad you did, even though you might have not done as good as you wanted.
Man, there's been a couple fights. It's just like, and it helped me out going forward because I started documenting like where am I getting the most injuries, and it kind of kept happening around the same time, So that helped me going forward to like plan some of my training, do something different. But I've like ripped my hamstring like 3 weeks before fight. I'm like,
Which
oh,
fight?
the Lorenz Larkin. When I fought Lorenz Larkin, just 3 weeks, right at the track, I fucking ripped my hamstring, like fucking like good one. And I was like, damn. Usually, for every single injury that I've ever had in my life, I heard this young, and then I would always do it, and I go, all right, it just hurts. It's not an injury, and it's
Yeah.
walk it off. I'll just
Yeah.
walk. I'll walk off just about it. A train will hit me. I'll be like, wait, 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 before we go to the hospital, let me see if I can walk it off. If I can't walk it
Yep.
off within 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is still getting at me, I'm like, all
Yep.
right, I might need to check. I might need to have somebody check this out. So I fucking finished the track and field workout barely. And I was like, man, my fucking leg is fucking up, man. Shit. I felt like this cold strip first, and now it's just like getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And I must have walked like 4 or 5 laps around the track, and I was like, yep, this shit is fucked up. I got it checked out, and I had torn my fucking hamstring. So I was like, all right, whatever, it could be worse, you know. So I was just getting by. It wasn't like a crazy tear. It was like a
What
level
part
2
of the
tear.
camp? What time of the camp was the tear? Like,
3
was it in the
weeks.
beginning or the
3 weeks.
end?
3 weeks before the fight. 3 weeks before the fight. So I
See,
went and
that's
got
where it's kind of like that's where it's also tricky because if it's at the end of the fight, you're already in such good shape that you're like, I can kind of like tough this out and make this work. But if you did it at the beginning, you would have had to reschedule it.
kind of right. Like if you do it at the beginning, and
Yeah.
especially if you didn't come in like great shape to that camp, you're like, fuck, can we reschedule?
Yep.
It's still so early. But now I can't reschedule. The card's happening. I need the money at this time. Like I need this
Yeah.
paycheck. There's no way.
Exactly.
But to add insult to the injury, I go to training and I get fucking like poked pretty good in the eye. So good that I gotta go to the fucking eye doctor. Now this is like this hamstring happened this week. This is the following week. Like in wrestling practice, somebody just fucking got all up in my eyeball. I go to the doc. They're like, yeah, we're gonna have to do surgery. You got some detached retina. I said, go surgery? He goes, oh, don't freak out. It's just laser surgery. We're just gonna and anyways, you got your fight coming up. You got to do your eye exam. They won't let you fight like that. Like
Oh
you
my
got holes in
gosh.
like your retina. So that was like another weird thing. All in the same fight in the same camp, and not taking excuses away from Larkin and nothing because them doing that eye exam didn't. I mean the eye laser eye did nothing. But it was like just weird. It put me like at a weird fucking place. I was like, man, this is some interesting shit. So I went in
Yeah.
there, got the laser eye surgery, and then went out there and fought. You know.
Yeah, and so I don't hear you making excuses. I don't feel like I'm trying to make excuses. I give all the credit to Cody. He's the champ. He won that night. He was better than me that night. I'm just saying
It's
that
just things
you
that
had
happen.
certain,
It's
yeah,
things that
things
happen.
happen. And I think
Things
that
that are out of our
this
control,
hap
and it's a truth that happened. It's not an excuse.
yeah, and you got to just go through anyways is the thing. And how many people like have this shit happen in their life where they think they can't do something and they can, you know? Like it was a crazy, I learned a lot about myself taking that fight. That's why I could stand up and say what I said after the loss is because I was actually truly proud of myself for making it through that, the state that I was in. And I would say you could probably say the same about yourself. Like a lot of people won't go through and do it. They'll just, not take the risk.
Prime you versus Marab. How does that fight go?
I always liked that fight when I was, I mean, I'm still a fan and stuff, and since I'm not fighting, it's like weird. I don't want to sound like I'm talking trash or nothing. But when I wanted to fight his style, like I was trying to make that matchup coming up the ladder before I retired, because I believe I match up really good with Murab, his style. You stuff the takedowns, and everything about my style is built to beat the way he fights. It's tough to take down, hit angles, hit combinations, use cardio as a weapon, and just out slick, out maneuver, and out smooth somebody.
I would
Like
have loved
that's
to
what I
see
like
it.
to do, you know?
'Cause that would have been a fight for the ages.
Because
Obviously,
he
I'll be
fights a lot
leaning
like the
towards
Alpha
you.
Males crew.
Yeah, very very wrestler heavy pressure. A lot of
Hmm.
weird angles and a lot of cardio. Like that guy's a fucking
Yeah,
blessed with the cardio too. The
yeah.
two of you are like
He
the
works
most
hard.
cardio anaerobic guys I've probably seen.
He works really hard. You got to work
Yeah,
really hard. I worked
yeah,
really hard at my cardio. Like
yeah.
24/7, I was doing cardio. Lots of cardio, not a little. Like
I
hard
remember I
cardio.
was 10 days out there with you in San Diego. You had me treading fucking water for like an hour.
Oh yeah,
Then we
yeah.
were passing the plates. And then
That's
this
right.
motherfucker
I
didn't
did.
feed me. He's like, "What? I got food coming. Don't worry. We're gonna do a little fasting. We're gonna eat soon." I said, "All right, cool, Dom." This after we had done. We did a 2-hour wrestling practice. We went. You guys had a 2-hour wrestling practice, and we
Yep.
came back. Went on this pool for like 45 minutes, treading water and passing these plates around. He had like 25-pound plates. Then
Yep.
after that, we went for a run that same day. My bro, this guy's fucking crazy, but we're swimming, we're running with. We had a good time, brother.
It was funny. I had a blast hanging out with
Yeah,
you, man,
yeah,
when
yeah.
you
That was a
came
good
out.
time. That was a good time, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Got to do it
Dom.
again. Maybe I'll come out for one of your bare knuckles. I'll come check out your neck of the woods too.
Oh, we're gonna definitely bring you
Hit
out to
up one
one
of
of
those
like
barbecues you
May
were inviting me to.
May 1st. We're probably gonna have our show here. Not probably. We're gonna have our show here May 1st. If you're not doing anything, we'd love to have you out here, brother. Last question I want to ask you, um, Keith Peterson stoppage.
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
Yeah, the Keith Peterson stoppage was basically just I had talked to him in the back about not stopping it early because this is a championship fight. You need to give me my fucking time.
Yeah,
I had already planned to maybe things not go super perfect in the first early rounds. I was gonna have to weather the storm because of, again, not excuses. When you take fight compromise, you take fight in that state. And so you got to prepare for that style of fight, right? And I had just come off that shoulder surgery. So I was like, okay, I get an opportunity here. I can't pass it up. Again, it's another opportunity you don't say no to if you get a title shot. And they had just closed the border. He was supposed to fight, Henry was supposed to fight Jose Aldo. And then it was during COVID and they shut the border down. And so Jose Aldo couldn't come from Brazil to fight him. So they offered me the fight on like very short notice. And I had just finished my shoulder surgery. So I was like, it was risky, but I just wanted to do it. I thought I could go out there and still get the job done, And I
I
couldn't.
bet it on you heavy on that. I'll put some money on my
Yeah,
boy.
I
Yeah,
didn't. I wanted more rounds and I got mad just because if you let me keep going in that round, I truly believe, I don't just stop. Like you have to really push the button and the button
I
was
think
not
so
pushed on
too.
me. I was on my feet already, by
Yeah,
the time we stopped the fight.
I thought it was a bad
So
stoppage as well, brother.
I
That's
was
why.
pissed. I was beyond mad because it was like I told him in the back was more what made me so mad. Like, and I made him redo the rules in the back twice because he couldn't look me in the eyes. And there was something fishy about him that night, and I knew it before the fight. So when he did that, it made me hold the burn even longer on him because we had a one-on-one conversation, me and that dude in the back, and he was weird in the referees meeting. And so like that always put a bad taste in my mouth, and it's a hard one to accept because I was on my feet. I was doing my job that I need to do as a fighter to allow the fight to go on. There was 1 second left on the clock, and I worked out my way all the way back up, and you stopped it. Like it just for a world title, you don't do that for a world title. You do that for like a prelim fight maybe or something. But this is my whole life on the line. This was my last shot. This was everything. So that's why it gets me so wound up. No
And
disrespect to Henry getting his job done in that moment. He landed a kick, but man, we get hit in fights. This is what happens. Let me fight. You know what I mean? I wasn't done. So that's my issue with it is it felt like how they say you come back as a ghost when you have unfinished business. That's like a ghost fight for me. That's like an unfinished business fight. And then he retires after that for 2 years to dodge the bullet of me and then comes back after 2 years while I fight two more fights, and then comes back and then just gets beat up. He could have let me whoop his ass first. That would have been nice. You know
the
what I mean? What
story,
the fuck?
the
He just
story is
decides to
told
go sit
yesterday,
out for
man.
a minute and then come back and get his ass whooped after I'm done. Like bullshit, man. But whatever. What can you do? You live
Yeah,
and you
but
learn.
Henry's another all-time one of the greatest ever.
Yeah,
But at
he did
least
his job. He did his job.
he did his thing, man. He's
Yeah.
done his thing.
Can't hate on him landing the kick, but just I'm mad at the ref for
Yeah,
not letting the fight go on. The whole world could have got a good fight out of that too. We were not done.
yeah. I felt like you I thing is, I've seen you get hurt before. I've just seen you in so many fights. Felt like I was early, man, especially for you. You know, giving the
Yeah,
credit years, and not to take anything from Henry because he's one of my all-time favorite fighters. Well, one of the best combat athletes that ever lived. You know, but definitely
I'm
would have
not
liked to
gonna
see
hate
it if
on
it
him.
went.
You know, I'm not gonna hate
If
on
it
him for
went
that.
longer, I don't think nobody would be mad. You know.
I really
I
just,
think
it's like a
referees should
missed
start
opportunity.
being held accountable, you know, because there's a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
them
my
doing.
thing too. It's a missed
Take a thing,
opportunity.
take a thing from the check, you know. Should hit them for the check. There should be another board of people that we're able to sanction them or something because there's a lot of fucking up to do it. And when guys take like Herb Dean just did it, just let somebody get mutilated. Who was it that was getting mutilated by the elbows?
Hooker versus Saint Denis.
Hooker versus Saint Denis. It's like, dude, what do you do?
I'm gonna tell you this though. I would rather you let me get mutilated than stop it early
Yeah,
for a title.
yeah, when you're the fighter, yeah, but when you're also seeing it, it's like because yours was nothing like that. This is Hooker's mounted, tired, and getting elbowed in the face like 34 elbows and some shit. Like way different scenario, you know. But yeah, it's fucking these referees
I
need to be
guess there's
held
a
accountable.
fine line.
Yeah,
It's a
my
hard
brother.
job though. I guess it's a fine line between where to stop it, where not to, how people feel about it.
I mean,
It's always gonna be a debate for people.
I think in some instances for me it's pretty clearly cut. Do you, Dominick Cruz, want to continue fighting? Well, you know when you get dropped, there's a certain way you roll and there's a certain way you don't, right? Because if I get dropped and you're coming on me and I get a single leg, I just bought myself considerable time because all
Yeah.
of a sudden I'm gonna turn into Hulk. I'm gonna grab this leg harder than I ever squeeze the leg and I'm gonna survive. If I don't want to keep fighting that much and I'm kind of like, I'll roll the other way, eat a couple shots, and then the referee will break it up, and I'll get mad and be like, "Oh, why'd you break up the fight?" You know. So you can see it when guys sometimes don't want to fight or they're like out of it very much, and then you can see when a guy gets back up to his feet, took the pain, knows where he's at, knows he's up against the cage. It's different scenarios, but I don't think it's that hard of a job, brother. I don't think so.
I mean, I don't think it's a super hard job, but it's a fast thing. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fast. They
You
they
got
got to see
seconds.
things very fast,
You
and
got
I do
seconds to react.
agree. That's where we both agree. You got to be able to like, you got to be able to look at body language and determine if somebody's really like wants out or not,
But
and you should be able to tell that.
it's something you can't fake either. Me and you are gonna spot it. Guys that have been in the sport are gonna spot it miles away. I'll spot it from the fucking nosebleed sections. Like, oh, this guy wants to quit. Stop it. You know.
Yeah.
A lot of these referees they don't have that, or they're too like in the moment. They don't see these things, or a guy's fighting back. He's not actually hurting. They're just trigger happy to stop the fight. You know. Whatever. Nobody's perfect, man. I just want them held more. The referees and judges, they gotta hold them at a high standard, you know.
They just got to put their name and their face up on their work like they do to us. It
Yeah.
happens to us. Why can't they have their name and face up on their work too?
Pay deductions too. I said it 1st.
Mhm.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, my brother. I gotta get you back on. Thank you so much for sharing wisdom with us, info and insight of the fights back in the day. All the stories you shared. Thank you, my brother. We gotta have you back on whenever we can, man. It's been a
Same
fucking
to you,
absolute
man.
pleasure.
Appreciate your time. You're a fucking legend yourself. Appreciate you, dog. Love you, man.